Mike Pence has a book that's going to be coming out, I believe, early next year. And so, as is always the case, before the book comes out, we get excerpts, we get information, we get the juiciest tidbits. So hopefully that prevents people from having to buy Mike Pence's horrible book. But there is one thing that came out this past week. Something Mike Pence writes about that could absolutely damn Donald Trump to jail. And I'll explain why after I read this. On January 4th, the President's Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, summoned me to the Oval Office for a meeting with a long list of attendees, including the legal scholar John Eastman. I listened respectfully as Mr. Eastman argued that I should modify the proceedings, which require that electoral votes be opened and counted in alphabetical order, by saving the 5 disputed states until the end. Mr. Eastman claimed I had the authority to return the votes to the states until each legislature certified which of the competing slate of electors for the state was correct. I had already confirmed that there were no competing electors. "Do you think I have the authority to reject or return votes?" he recalled asking Eastman. "Well, it's never been tested in the courts, so I think it's an open question." Pence then turned to Donald Trump and said, quote, "Even your lawyer doesn't think I have the authority to return electoral votes." Trump replied, "I like the other thing better," presumably meaning that I could simply reject electoral votes. Pence said he then made it clear to Trump that even Eastman did not support these ideas. So as I said, these comments could land Donald Trump in jail. Here's how. It's a long process, right? There's a lot of big ifs to happen in order for these comments to make a difference, but here it is. Let me lay it out for you. Let's assume the DOJ, which of course has a grand jury investigation into the fake elector scheme and the attempt to overturn the election. Let's say that they come out and they indict Donald Trump. At that point, of course, he would be criminally charged. He would stand trial under criminal charges. One of the charges that we know he would be hit with, as this is one of the ones that's been talked about, is fraud against the United States government. As I've repeatedly said, the way Donald Trump is able to legally avoid that, which I think is stupid, but it's the way the law works, is if he has plausible deniability that he legitimately and genuinely believed what he was doing was legal because he genuinely thought votes were stolen. That's where Pence's comments come into play. He says that even John Eastman didn't believe what he was saying. And he says he told that to Donald Trump in front of John Eastman. Now that alone, of course, is not necessarily enough to completely blow up that defense that Donald Trump would present. So what would then happen? I think we all know. Mike Pence, former vice president of the United States, would be called in as a witness, and he would have to tell this story. He would also be asked questions about, did Donald Trump know this was fraud? Did Donald Trump know this wasn't true? To which Pence would likely tell us, yeah, he did know it wasn't true. And that would be the final nail in the coffin. So Mike, wish you the best of luck with your book, buddy. But keep your schedule clear from that book tour, because you may end up having to testify against your former boss. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.